Vote buying has become a major concern for the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC, political parties, election observers, and even voters. INEC's recently released amended electoral guidelines reflected some measures put in place by the Commission to tackle this. Speaking exclusively to Roots TV Nigeria, INEC Director for Voter Education and Publicity Adewole Osaze Uzzi explained these measures as well as other amendments to the election guidelines.
And basically it's a review of the guidelines we have been using to conduct elections. There are no radical changes from the guidelines we've always used. Guidelines are organic, they change from time to time. Once we see any lapses, then we review them to reflect new thinking, if there's a new law, to reflect the new law. So basically this guideline is an improvement, as it were, on what was used in 2015 and what has been used in the subsequent off-cycle elections.
You said when you noticed some lapses and you reviewed that, what were the specific lapses that you noticed in this particular guideline that led to the amendment?
Well, I don't know that I can call them lapses or just a review. Yes, I did. For example, review in the light of surrounding circumstances. For example, the reference to the use of cameras in the polling cubicle. Now, that is an improvement in the sense that we are using it to reinforce the sanctity of the secrecy of the ballot. The Electoral Act provides for secrecy of the ballot, and we want to make sure that people don't go there, take their photo, and to guide against vote buying. They don't take photographs and take that photograph of how they voted to the money bag who buys their votes or who induces them, really. So that, for example, there's a difference in the accreditation and voting, separate accreditation and voting was in 2015. But this guideline is not new, it was reviewed. Actually, the original position was that it was simultaneous or continuous vote accreditation and voting right from the pre-independence elections up till 2011. The change came in 2011 when we saw that quite a number of people have different several cards and could go from one unit to another to utilize those cards. So we said, look, one way of checking that is that everybody should get accredited at the same time, but everybody should vote at exactly the same time. So now that we have a better, more credible register, the biometric register, biometric PVCs, we say it's no longer necessary to do that. You can vote, you can only vote once. Whether you take it to another polling unit, you will not be allowed to vote because the card reader will be used. So we now have to amend that law, the part of the regulation, straight after the Bayelsa election in, I think, 2015 December. So there's nothing new. So since that time, in all other elections, since that time, by-elections, off-cycle elections in Ekiti, Anambra, Osun, and Edo, such like places, it's exactly what we've done. In 2015, it is reported that more than 2 million people who got accredited, because of separate accreditation and voting, who got accredited, did not come for vote, come back to vote.
So beyond just not allowing cameras into the polling booths, what else have you done to curb vote buying?
Well, we've tried to rearrange the administrative setup of the polling unit nationwide such that when you go there, where you go to cast your vote, after indicating your choice in the cubicle, the ballot box is not too far removed from the cubicle. The law requires that you indicate in secret and drop it in the open. So the ballot box that was fairly removed from the polling cubicle is no longer that far removed. So we did arrangements like that. We have a dedicated line for reporting voter inducement. We don't call it voter inducement, it's bribery of the electorate, and we've intensified voter education in this regard, telling them it's immoral, it's illegal, and all our major religions frown against voter inducement or taking bribe for votes or taking bribe for anything for that matter.
INEC staff are often targets during elections. Their safety is always an issue. Sometimes we hear that. How are you working with security operatives to ensure that INEC officials are secure during the election so that they're not induced to or forced to announce different results from what is at the polling units? What are you doing about that?
We have the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, which meets regularly to review things, take advice, and take a cohesive approach towards election security matters. It's not just INEC staff, observers, the media who will cover elections, accredited observers, voters have to feel secure to participate in the process. So part of what we're doing is to ensure that they're working with them to show there's sufficient security. And we're taking full advantage of the amendments to Section 29 of the amendments done in 2015, which places security officials under the control, or on election duty, under the control of the chairman of INEC. So we've pointed this out, and we're working closely with all security agencies involved under the auspices of that committee.
Beyond that, what other challenges do you foresee coming up during the elections, and how are you mitigating these challenges?
Well, we've deployed several election risk management tools. And amongst those tools is such that early warning systems are put in place, and increased intelligence gathering, which will help put in place. We work very closely with the security agencies to ensure that it's done. Admittedly, the country, the parts of the country that are under violence and threats and things like that, I think that security mapping to see where those are, and special attention is given to those areas. So it's I don't know, but I cannot give, even when I do know, I can't give you all the security measures and intelligence measures that have been put in place. But don't forget, we work with all major security agencies. So, for example, the NDLEA, which you say, what does it have to do with election security? Drugs and influence of prescribed narcotics in such circumstances. It's under the purview of the NDLEA. They know, they have fair idea where these people can be got, where the heavy suppliers are. So they have extra measures put in place to control the influx of illicit drugs, for example, which fuels brigandage and violence. So, and just about every other security, ICPC and the EFCC are not part of the Intelligence Consultative Committee, but they have their own statutory users, especially for intelligence gathering and illicit movements of cash to fuel vote buying, to fuel violence and things like that. So they have their own roles to play under different auspices, bilateral cooperation. They will do that. We
want to say a big thank you to you, sir, for taking our time to talk to Roots TV Nigeria. We are grateful.
Thank you for having me.
All right, you have been watching us right here on Roots TV Nigeria, talking to a director for Voter Education and Publicity, Adewole Osaze Uzzi, talking and explaining to us basically about the amendments made to the INEC guidelines, which some have found quite contentious. We'll be giving you more information about that as we go on, as leading to the elections. You stay right here on Roots TV Nigeria. My name is Gloria Oji Emode.